I say we go ahead and get started. So I'll kick it off today. Thank you all for joining us. My name is Samantha. I am the Director of Customer Success for Workforce Connect. And joining me today is Marty Lefsman, our Chief Product Officer, and he is here to share with you the 5 drivers of community and workforce excellence. So just a little bit about where we'll be going today. Marty is going to present, share those 5 drivers with you, and then we'll definitely have time for Q&A. But feel free to put any questions or comments in the chat along the way. I'll be monitoring that. Happy to respond to those. And then when Marty is finished presenting, I'll also make sure to read any of your questions out and have an opportunity for Marty to answer those. So with that, Marty, I turn it over to you. Thanks for joining us. Feel free to introduce yourself a little bit more and why we're here today.
Thank you, Samantha. It's a pleasure to be here with everybody today, and ideally, hopefully, find some new opportunities to find friends to engage with us with Workforce Connect. And when you do, Samantha will be your main point of contact and has worked with all 40 plus of our institutions that have adopted Workforce Connect and has a lot of stories to tell on how to best leverage this platform to help you drive towards excellence with tracking community engagements. So that's really what today's session is all about, is talking through what we found to be those 5 drivers of community and workforce excellence. Quickly about me, I am an educator at heart. I started in the high school math classroom before joining the CTE ranks, career and technical education ranks, and then eventually worked with Samantha for the last 5 years to create online and hybrid workforce development programs on behalf of community colleges. And it was between those 2 efforts that Samantha and I saw a big opportunity to better support our community and technical college partners in having a better, easier, standardized platform to help track and scale workforce partnerships. And so that is the genesis of Workforce Connect. Last year, we launched Workforce Connect. Congratulations to us. And as I said, we picked up those 40 new partners along the way, attended 8 different conferences across the country, brought on some referral partners in the process, those evangelists, if you would, for early software products, and also formalized 2 big strategic partners with us, Studer Education being one of those, and of course, NACCE, a fantastic organization I'm sure many of you are familiar with. But here we go. Really want to do a deep dive today on workforce partnerships. What are they and how do we standardize those? So when we think about the world of workforce and community partnerships, we have this continuum from really what I like to think of as light touch engagements to a lot of touch points, heavier touch points, a lot of time with students providing career opportunities. So this alignment partner bucket is a bucket that we can define by those who are having great impact inside of our college, but mostly through the lens of donations or providing oversight to our programs, sector advisories, helping us with curriculum. So not necessarily directly involved with our students, but certainly providing a strong impact to the work that we do. We then have engagement partners. Those are the ones that are providing opportunities to our students, albeit through a light touch approach. Maybe they are offering job shadows, career fairs. Maybe they're coming onto campus to do some guest speaking, maybe some mentorship programs as well. And then, of course, our heavy touch programs where our students are directly engaged with our employer and community partners, getting those opportunities to have on-the-job training through apprenticeships, internships, pre-apprenticeships, etc., as well as those customized training programs. That looks like a lot. And you're probably saying that is a lot, Marty. And we say, that is a lot. And if you just think of one of your partners that you have in your community, they can be doing a whole lot with you. And it's just one partner, but they might be offering an internship. If they're a medical partner, they might also be providing clinical placements for your RN or even BSN programs. They might be a supply donor. They might be part of your career fair. They're probably doing some kind of philanthropic work for you as well, informing your curriculum, providing those job shadow opportunities. A lot of different touch points across the college, no less the direct hiring that they might also be doing. That's just one partner, and it's a maze, right? And so when I ask folks who owns all of the relationships across the college, can leadership see those engagements across the divisions? What about the partner themselves? Do they experience one college or do they experience what feels like then maybe multiple institutions that they're working with? What does that engagement look like from the employer standpoint? And how do we keep track of all this? When I start asking those questions, I get answers like this, and people feel like this. They say, "Well, Marty, we know where to start. It gets messy for a while. We track things in various platforms. But we always get to the solution, which is very true. That is what I love most about educators is we don't give up. We find a path. It might be messy at times, but we find a path and we always get to an answer. But the process could be more efficient. And so when we look at efficiencies, we've defaulted really to two sides of the coin. One of those efficiency methods is just having an Excel spreadsheet, some papers. Sticky note partnerships is a term that one of our college partners coined, and I loved it. So it became a slide. But we have processes that we put in place to help us better manage all of these engagements that we have across our community. By default, spreadsheets seem to be what most people lean towards. I would too if I was in your all's shoes. But some people eventually say we have to do better than spreadsheets because now we have five spreadsheets. I don't like having five spreadsheets. We just need one platform. And so then we go to the other extreme and try to find the platform that works best. It could be a Salesforce. It's free at times. You don't maybe get what you need, but it's free. Or Element 451 or Blackbud. There's other things out there that also help control community engagements, but also not necessarily created for the management of those multiple partnerships that we were just talking about before. That is the genesis of Workforce Connect. We said, let's go ahead and create that exact platform that we need to help us manage these contacts, these organizations, and these agreements, which we call partnerships across the community, and create a very easy to use platform that everybody across the college can use, that I can just pick up my phone or pick up my computer and it's scripted for our environment. There's no learning curve because we know in education we're all tremendously busy. And when there becomes a steep learning curve, we typically end up with shelfware, which is not the ultimate goal. So Workforce Connect is just a better product, a better solution for what we're trying to achieve in terms of simplifying the community and workforce engagement process. As we launched that last year, Samantha and I learned that just because we brought forth a new product into the market, that doesn't necessarily mean that we have the silver bullet solution and that workforce and community engagement tracking across the college was going to be solved for. And what we really learned was adopting a software is the first step, but also rewiring our institution to think through a strategic systems approach was also going to help us achieve the goals that we wanted out of that platform. So we did a deeper dive into the smart people of days gone by and did some research in different process improvement channels. One of them being Edward Deming's work. He was the first person to put a standardized process or a process improvement lens on business to say every system that we stand up is really perfectly designed to get the results that we get out. And so there's really three options when you really start thinking about adoption and trying to standardize work. There's we just hope we have a system that works and everybody feels like they're doing something disjointed. We might then say we have to get our act together and start putting some systems in place. We might adopt a software. Maybe this is where a lot of you feel like you might be. We might have Salesforce, we might have spreadsheets, but we haven't all figured it out into that same directional flow. And then finally, we put some good, strong systems in place so that everything starts to funnel in one direction. And obviously, we all want to be in that rightmost arrow set. So how do we get there? Looking at Toyota as one of the examples of systematic thinking or approach thinking, Toyota was late to the game in the auto manufacturing work. They came in strong in the 1940s, 1950s, just after the World War II era, and took Deming's practices to heart and said, let's go ahead and create workflows that standardize what we're trying to do, that everybody has a leadership component on, and built accountability upon the leaders of those workflows. And let's see how that works. And what do we know? Toyota became the main, pardon the pun, driver in the world of automotive manufacturing and ultimately dominated the car market by the 1980s. It wasn't just by throwing money at a problem, it was by creating a solution and everybody getting on board to what that solution could be. So maybe that's where you are today as we start introducing these five drivers to community and workforce excellence. But we do know that sometimes efforts fail, and typically we fail at the employee resistance to change, and the management behaviors aren't necessarily supporting that change. And what Samantha and I have found, at least with the community and workforce engagement, is folks are desperate for the right solution. It's just aligning the behaviors and aligning the drivers to get us moving towards that change. All right. So if you think about the common pitfalls or why do things start to fail on us traditionally, I say us, this is everybody in the world, not just community colleges. Things start to fall apart when we introduce different kinds of creeps. The first creep is a hope creep, where we think, oh, well, if we just buy the right solution, all of our problems are going to be solved. Or if we just tell everybody to use the platform, we don't have to worry about it anymore, right? The hope creep. If we do this, we hope it works without actually putting the engine behind what we're trying to achieve. We also have an effort creep where we throw a lot of resources at something at once. We say we're going to do this, everybody's in the game, and then within 2, 3, 4 weeks, a priority changes, and while we had some traction with adoption, we didn't quite get it to that mastery level, and the efforts, because we have a lot of our plates, have shifted into a different priority set, and adoption wasn't quite achieved. And then finally, that scope creep of if we start here, then let's continue to add to people's plates, add to people's plates, or let's introduce a new priority in our system. And the more that we add, the more scope that ends up on people's plates and the less opportunity for adoption of a new system. So Samantha and I said, let's go ahead and support colleges in thinking through how we push through each of these different types of pitfalls in our systems so that whatever platform you choose to adopt for your community and workforce engagement tracking and practices, we will find an opportunity for success. Looking back at Deming's work and the folks that came after them, what we really started to identify was that 90% of the time, pre-planning never happens at the level that it needs to be successful with any change management effort that we launch into this world, into our processes, into our institutions. And so with a robust pre-planning and setting those goals and what we can achieve is going to help us be more successful in adopting that platform that's right for us. All right, that is my long-winded introduction to the five drivers of community and workforce engagement. Well, let's think of that through a systems lens. What are those five drivers that are going to allow us to start lining up those arrows so that we achieve the outcomes that we want to achieve? Yes, when we adopt a solution to track it, but the bigger picture, what are we trying to achieve? And it's in that conversation of what are we trying to achieve and how are we going to achieve it that we were able to identify the five drivers of community and workforce excellence These are the things that we've learned from those 40 institutions that really empower success in terms of simplifying, standardizing, and then scaling workforce and community engagements. Driver number one is that strategic impact. This is the charter. This is the why. Why are colleges wanting to improve, augment, scale partnerships? What is your goal in obtaining new partners? Is it a revenue goal? Is it a quantity goal? Is it placing students into opportunities? This needs to be defined college-wide, which then informs all decision-making downstream to help us identify the why we are doing the work that we are doing. After we have the why, we think about, okay, how do we then design partnerships to help us fulfill the why? Are we after pre-apprenticeships? Or if somebody comes to us with a pre-apprenticeship opportunity, is that just noise? So it helps us identify what kind of partnerships we want to stand up and then place onto those the KPIs or the metrics that we want to track so that we know that we are being successful by the types of partnerships that we bring into the college, which then ultimately helps us fulfill the why or that strategic impact that we are after. Once we know what kind of partnerships we're after, customized training, internships, apprenticeships, sectors, etc., then we can go about building out our operational systems that allow us to work in harmony as a college to then go build those partnerships that are going to allow us to hit those metrics. So having the standard operating procedures in place for when we start working with somebody externally in the community, we know as a college who owns that relationship. How do we document that relationship? Where does official documentation live? Who gets added to different partnerships and why? And so on and so forth, so that that directory of information becomes available consistently across our entire organization. That is operational systems. When we do that, then we also flip the coin and say, all right, as part of the design effort for our operational systems, we need to make sure that our entire institution is aligned. So, yes, our systems can bridge across our departments, but also, when that employer partner calls us, perhaps that hospital partner, they see us as a one institution model and not a 102 department model, right? We want them seeing us as a partner that they can trust. They have a point of contact. It's that institutional alignment that we're trying to provide to our community so that they have a repeatable process when they engage with us. So setting up the mechanisms to think of it like that. And then finally, when we have these systems in place, then we're able to say, all right, the final metrics that we are trying to achieve on a weekly, monthly, quarterly, annually, triannually to meet our strategic plan, that is going to be measured by XYZ variables. And so when you start to approach the work from the systems mindset and a change management, that there actually is a lot to go into the process of adopting one, the right platform for workforce and community engagements, but also just having the process in place across the entire college is really what's going to allow you to achieve those goals and to get everybody operating out of the same hymnal, as my mother likes to say. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, there they are listed out again. It really moves leaders from intent to execution by creating that shared path throughout the college. Um, Talking briefly then about Workforce Connect, which while I wish it was the panacea for every single college out there, What we firmly believe is that we strategically designed the platform that would allow you to manage the organizations, the contacts, and the partnership data that you're trying to achieve for community and workforce excellence. And we designed it, for the record, in collaboration with 12 different community and technical colleges who provided the input to say, Marty and Sam, here's what we need in this product for it to be successful. At the end of the day, what we serve up is a very easy to use platform that allows you to have the directory information at your fingertips, that allows you to build workforce partnerships in the platform, and many of those partnerships being designed to flex the way that you need them to flex. That is, for example, I have a sector partnership that needs 10 different organizations to be involved with that, and I need to know all the contacts, all the organizations. I need to have all the notes available at my fingertips. And then internally, I need a mechanism by which I can assign tasks to different team members to make sure that that partnership is moving forward and in the right direction. It's aligning those arrows. So we have the task management feature built into that platform as well, so that at the end of the day, we can meet driver number 5, which is that dashboard and reporting that allows you to track the metrics that matter most for the college. I just want to show you one slide of Workforce Connect. It was a fast slide, as it turns out. The goal here, and it's going to flip again for me, is ease of design so that everything can be made easy. We're flipping fast here because I failed to turn off the timer on those few slides. But what you see is really a handful of colleges, more than a handful of colleges, who have said yes to Workforce Connect, but more importantly, have said yes to strategic, systematic thinking so that we can start using an easy to use platform, so that they can start getting everybody in alignment across the college, across departments to hit those goals, the strategic vision of why we're building workforce and community partnerships. For your time, we want to provide two things to you today. One, we have a guide that just talks about these 5 drivers of community and workforce excellence. It asks reflective questions for you all. It's a guide that you can use as your strategic visioning support as you work together as a team inside of the college of how do we build the right ecosystem for our college to be successful with our workforce and community engagements. Samantha will follow up today's webinar with this guide. Love for you to have it, flip through it, and if you're intrigued and have questions, of course, contact us. We've worked with 40 plus community colleges and technical colleges at this point, doing this exact work of, yes, providing a platform to make the tracking easy, but also to help think through the strategic visioning set of how to do this at the college level. And through that lens, we've also built out a workshop that we can offer both online, but then also in person. Usually the goal here, if you really want that help in thinking through systems thinking and building out that charter and building out those operating procedures and identifying the metrics that you want to use as your success metrics as you engage with workforce and community engagement. My number is at the bottom. That's my personal cell phone number. Give me a ring. I dare you, do it right now. That would be fun and exciting during a webinar. Otherwise, you have my email address. Love to connect, talk to you about what's going on at your college and how we can support either through strategy as well as the platform itself. With that, Sam, I'm going to kick it back to you.
All right, Marty, thank you very much for sharing this great information. I'm going to go ahead and open it up now to questions. If you have any questions for Marty or I about the 5 drivers, about Workforce Connect, we're happy to answer those. If you'd like to see a little bit more about Workforce Connect, Marty can share his screen and show Workforce Connect if that's something you want to learn a little bit more about. So just put any of those comments or questions here in the chat, and we will be ready to answer those for you. Marty, I'll kick it off with a question that someone sent me, which is, do you have to tackle those 5 drivers in that order, or can you start somewhere in the middle?
We'll meet in the middle. I would say that that is up to you. Where I struggled in placing the order of the metrics was really thinking through that last one, number five. And should five be one or should one be five? It's the metrics, right? Do we lead with metrics or do we think about metrics as the end product? You can certainly engage wherever you are right now with the driver that resonates most. If we're just struggling with getting everybody operating in the same spreadsheet, let's at least standardize that process and make sure everybody's entering information together there in the right order. I strongly recommend building out a college-wide strategic vision on how we want to engage with our community and workforce partners and the why behind that. We're educators at heart. You're educators. Educators love to serve the community. At some point, we also need to think through our engagements with the community as an ROI. And I think establishing the ROI through driver one of like why are we doing this? What's our ROI and why is this a benefit to our students will then help you inform those kinds of partnerships you want to stand up. But any order is really the answer there.
Great answer. Next question for you here, Marty. How is Workforce Connect priced? Is one of the questions that came in here.
You got it. We have different tiered pricing available to allow you all to start small or go big if you would. We fold in customer success into all of our packages, which allows you to start working and not having to worry about us charging you to teach you how to use the platform, basically. That's not a belief that I have. That's not a good belief in the world of education. So if we're going to provide a platform for you, we're going to also give you the support to make sure that that platform is successful. I say we. Sam is the champion there. So smile big, Sam. You guys get a lot of Sam and her team to support you out. We can get you into the platform for 10 users for under $5,000 a year. And then we scale from there, but still ultimately making it a cost-efficient model for the college. And can talk more on a call together.
All right. Well, with that, we will go ahead and say have a great rest of your afternoon. We appreciate your time. Feel free to reach out with any questions. We're here to support you and help you along the way. And feel free to share this webinar recording when you get it or the PDF with any colleagues who you think might also benefit from it as well. Have a great rest of your afternoon, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you.